Stephen Green stares in disbelief as Kobali customs officials label his jar of hot sauce a weapon of mass destruction. The human diplomat's bewilderment quickly turns to frustration as Chief Inspector Xena, her blue skin flushed with agitation, seizes the innocuous condiment. "This is absurd," Stephen protests, his voice rising above the bustling activity of the high-security intergalactic trade conference on Kobali Prime. "It's a culinary delicacy, not a threat." Xena's multifaceted eyes narrow. "Our scans detect capsaicin, a potent neurotoxin found only on your homeworld. This sauce could incapacitate our entire species." The stakes suddenly become clear. Earth's latest export, meant to showcase human cuisine, now threatens to sever all trade relations with the Kobali. Stephen's mind races, recognizing the far-reaching consequences for humanity's standing in the galactic community. "Let me demonstrate its harmlessness," Stephen suggests, reaching for the jar. "I'll consume it right here." Xena recoils, her tentacle-like appendages curling in disgust. "Absolutely not. Safety protocols forbid such reckless actions." News of the Deathworld Delicacy incident spreads like wildfire through the conference halls. Delegates from various alien races gather, their curiosity piqued by Earth's unique biology and apparent resilience to such a dangerous substance. Stephen seizes the opportunity. This misunderstanding could be a chance to showcase humanity's adaptability, he argues, addressing the growing crowd. "Our culinary traditions aren't a threat. They're a testament to our strength." Xena remains unconvinced. "Your species' ability to consume neurotoxins for pleasure doesn't negate the risk to others. We must classify this as an exotic weapon and regulate its distribution accordingly." The human diplomat finds himself at a crossroads. On one hand, allowing the hot sauce to be labeled as a weapon could isolate humanity from interstellar trade. On the other, leveraging this misunderstanding might elevate Earth's status as a formidable power in the cosmic arena. As tensions escalate, Stephen engaged in a heated debate with Xena and a hastily assembled panel of Kobali trade officials. The fate of Earth's galactic relations hangs in the balance. "You're making a grave mistake," Stephen asserts, his diplomatic training kicking into high gear. "This isn't just about hot sauce. It's about understanding and respecting the biological diversity of sentient species across the galaxy." Xena's facial tentacles twitch with irritation. "And what of the safety of those species? How can we guarantee this won't be used as a biological weapon?" Stephen's mind races, searching for a solution that will satisfy the Kobali's concerns while preserving Earth's interests. He realizes that navigating this complex web of alien bureaucracy, cultural misunderstandings, and xenobiological fears requires more than just words. As the argument intensifies, Stephen catches glimpses of other alien delegates watching with keen interest. He recognizes representatives from species known for their own unique biological quirks, some who can survive in extreme temperatures, others who consume metals for sustenance. A plan begins to form in Stephen's mind. If he can't demonstrate the hot sauce's harmlessness himself, perhaps he can arrange a coalition of species to vouch for Earth's position. It's a risky move, one that could backfire spectacularly if mishandled. But with Earth's reputation and future trade prospects on the line, Stephen knows he must act decisively. He takes a deep breath, preparing to propose a solution that could either salvage the situation or plunge humanity further into diplomatic crisis. The trade conference hall buzzes with tension as Stephen Green, Earth's representative, stands toe-to-toe with Xena and the Kobali officials. The fate of a simple jar of hot sauce and potentially humanity's place in the galactic community hangs in the balance. Stephen took a deep breath, his mind racing with the gravity of the situation. He knew he had to act quickly to prevent this misunderstanding from spiraling into a diplomatic catastrophe. With a steady voice, he addressed the assembled officials and delegates. "I propose a compromise," Stephen announced, his words cutting through the tense atmosphere. Allow me to demonstrate the safety of our hot sauce through a controlled experiment. I'll consume it myself under your supervision and safety protocols. Chief Inspector Zena's tentacles twitched with uncertainty. She conferred briefly with her colleagues, their hushed voices barely audible above the murmur of the crowd. Finally, she turned back to Stephen. "We accept your proposal, human," Zena declared, her multifaceted eyes glinting with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "But we will implement stringent safety measures." Over the next few hours, the conference center buzzed with activity. A specialized containment chamber materialized in the main hall, its sleek design a testament to Kobali engineering. Decontamination systems hummed to life, and protective barriers shimmered into existence. As word of the impending experiment spread, the crowd of onlookers swelled. Delegates from various species jostled for position, their diverse anatomies creating a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes. Among them, a tall, silver-skinned figure stood out, Zarnex, the newly arrived representative of the Galactic Trade Federation. Zarnex approached Stephen, his metallic voice resonating with authority. "I am here to observe and ensure fairness in these proceedings. The galaxy watches with great interest, Mr. Green." Before Stephen could respond, a commotion near the entrance caught his attention. Admiral Marcus Hawthorne strode into the hall, flanked by a team of humans in crisp uniforms. The Admiral's presence brought a mix of relief and added pressure to Stephen's shoulders. "Glad to see you, Stephen," Admiral Hawthorne said, clasping the diplomat's hand. "We're here to provide support and scientific backing. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, our chief xenobiologist, will monitor your vitals during the experiment." As final preparations were made, Stephen found himself standing before the sealed chamber door. Dr. Rodriguez attached monitoring devices to his skin, her movements precise and professional. "Remember, Stephen," she whispered, "stay calm and communicate any discomfort immediately. We're right here with you." With a hiss of hydraulics, the chamber door slid open. Stephen stepped inside, the jar of hot sauce clutched in his hand. As the door sealed behind him, he became acutely aware of the hundreds of alien eyes fixed upon him. Taking a deep breath, Stephen unscrewed the jar. The familiar scent of peppers and spices filled the air, eliciting gasps from the Kobali observers. With deliberate movements, he raised a spoonful of the vibrant red sauce to his lips. The first taste exploded across his palate, a comforting heat that reminded him of home. Stephen couldn't help but smile, savoring the flavor as he swallowed. He looked up to see the astonished faces of the alien spectators, their expressions ranging from horror to fascination. "Delicious," Stephen declared, his voice carrying through the chamber's communication system. "I'd like some more, please." Murmurs rippled through the crowd as Stephen continued to consume the hot sauce. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came through his earpiece, confirming his stable vital signs. The experiment seemed to be proceeding smoothly until a faint hiss caught Stephen's attention. Wisps of red vapor began to seep through the chamber's filtration system. Panic erupted among the Kobali attendees as traces of capsaicin escaped into the conference hall. Chief Inspector Zena's face contorted in distress. "Evacuate immediately," she bellowed, her tentacles flailing wildly. "Seal off the contaminated area." Chaos ensued as aliens of all species scrambled towards the exits. Emergency sirens blared, and Stephen watched helplessly as blast doors slammed shut, cutting off his view of the outside world. He turned to Dr. Rodriguez, who appeared equally bewildered. "What's happening out there?" Stephen asked, pressing his hand against the chamber's transparent wall. Dr. Rodriguez shook her head, her fingers flying over a control panel. "The building's emergency protocols have engaged. We're locked in, and our communications are jammed." Outside the chamber, Admiral Hawthorne surveyed the pandemonium with a practiced eye. He spotted Zarnex attempting to calm a group of panicked delegates and made his way over. "We need to regain control of the situation," Hawthorne said, his voice cutting through the din. "Can you help me access the conference center systems?" Zarnex nodded, his silver skin gleaming under the emergency lights. "I have diplomatic override codes. Follow me to the control room." As Hawthorne and Zarnex fought to restore order, Stephen and Dr. Rodriguez remained trapped in the containment chamber. The room's air scrubbers worked overtime to filter out the escaped capsaicin vapor, creating an oppressive hum. Stephen paced a confined space, his mind racing. What had started as a simple misunderstanding now threatened to become an interstellar incident. He glanced at the jar of hot sauce still half full and wondered how such a small thing could cause so much trouble. Dr. Rodriguez's voice broke through his thoughts. "Stephen, look! The external monitors are coming back online." They crowded around the display, watching as Admiral Hawthorne and Zarnex coordinated efforts to stabilize the situation. Alien diplomats huddled in groups, their expressions a mix of fear and curiosity. Some pointed at the containment chamber, engaging in heated discussions. "It seems our little demonstration has sparked quite the debate," Stephen mused, observing the alien reactions. Dr. Rodriguez nodded, her eyes fixed on the readouts. "And it's not just about the hot sauce anymore. Look at these data streams. They're reassessing Earth's entire classification in the galactic community." As they watched the unfolding drama, Stephen realized that this incident had opened a Pandora's box of diplomatic challenges and opportunities. The fate of Earth's standing in the galaxy now hinged on how they navigated the aftermath of the Deathworld Delicacy incident. The chamber's communication system crackled to life, and Admiral Hawthorne's voice filled the room. "Stephen, Dr. Rodriguez, we're working on getting you out. Stand by for extraction." Stephen exchanged a look with Dr. Rodriguez, both understanding that their ordeal was a long way to go. As the chamber's door began to unlock, they braced themselves for the diplomatic storm that awaited them on the other side. As the airlock hissed open, Stephen and Dr. Rodriguez stepped out into a scene of controlled chaos. Admiral Hawthorne approached them quickly, his face a mask of tenacity. "We've got a situation on our hands," he said, guiding them away from the curious and frightened onlookers. "The Galactic Trade Federation has called an emergency session to address what they're calling the Deathworld Delicacy crisis. We need to move fast." Stephen nodded, his mind already racing with potential diplomatic strategies. "When's the session?" "It's happening now," Hawthorne replied, leading them towards a sleek transport pod. "We're the Earth delegation. Zarnex has already presented a report on the hot sauce demonstration." As they boarded the pod, Dr. Rodriguez pulled out a datapad, her fingers flying over the screen. "I've been analyzing the data from the experiment. There's something here we might be able to use to our advantage." The transport pod zipped through the station's internal network of tubes, depositing them at the entrance to the Federation Council chamber. Stephen's breath caught in his throat as they entered the vast amphitheater. Hundreds of alien delegates filled the tiered seats, their varied anatomies creating a living tapestry of interstellar diversity. At the center of the chamber, Zarnex's metallic form gleamed under the harsh lights as he concluded his presentation. While harmful to most known species, humans not only tolerate this substance, but actively seek it out for pleasure. A wave of murmurs swept through the assembly. Stephen saw fear, fascination, and everything in between reflected in the alien faces surrounding them. Admiral Hawthorne seized the moment, striding forward to take the central podium. "Esteemed delegates," Hawthorne began, his voice carrying across the chamber, "I propose that Earth's unique biology be viewed not as a threat, but as an opportunity. We offer ourselves as a testing ground for potentially hazardous materials that other species are unable to handle safely." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. Stephen watched as several delegates from technologically advanced races leaned forward, their interest piqued. However, not all reactions were positive. Chief Inspector Xena, her tentacles writhing with agitation, took the floor. "This human's proposal is reckless," she declared. "Earth's unpredictable biology makes them a danger to the galactic community. We have evidence of other Earth substances, alcohol, caffeine, that pose similar risks to alien physiology." As the debate intensified, Stephen felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see Ambassador Lyrax, the Zenturi representative, her iridescent scales shimmering as she spoke. "Your Admiral's proposal has merit," she said softly. "The Zenturi see potential in humanity's resilience. Allow me to speak on your behalf." Stephen nodded gratefully, watching as Lyrax glided to the podium. Her melodious voice cut through the din, advocating for Earth's value in dealing with hostile environments and unknown threats. The arguments continued, with the chamber split between those intrigued by Earth's potential and those wary of the risks. As the tension mounted, a hush fell over the assembly. The council president, an elderly elder whose ancient eyes seemed to hold the wisdom of millennia, rose to speak. "We find ourselves at an impasse," the elder intoned, his voice resonating with authority. "I propose a series of trials to assess humanity's capabilities and intentions. These trials will involve humans undertaking dangerous missions that other species cannot perform. The results will determine Earth's future role in our community." Stephen exchanged glances with Admiral Hawthorne and Dr. Rodriguez. The stakes couldn't be higher. Earth's place in the galaxy hung in the balance. Hawthorne stepped forward, his voice steady as he addressed the council. "On behalf of Earth, we accept your proposal," he declared. "We will prove our worth to the galactic community." As the session adjourned, the human delegation huddled together. "We have one standard galactic week to prepare," Hawthorne said, his expression grim. "Stephen, I need you to select a team of Earth's finest for these trials." Dr. Rodriguez interrupted, her eyes alight with excitement. "Admiral, Stephen, look at this," she said, thrusting her datapad forward. "I found anomalies in the capsaicin's molecular structure when exposed to certain alien atmospheres. It could have medicinal properties for some species." Stephen's mind raced with the implications. As they left the chamber, he could feel the weight of alien gazes upon them. Some curious, some hostile, all intense. The corridors buzzed with activity as news of the impending trials spread. "We need to move quickly," Hawthorne said as they boarded a transport back to the Earth Embassy. "Every faction in the galaxy will be trying to influence these trials. We need to be prepared for anything." Stephen nodded, already mentally composing a list of potential candidates for their team. As the transport sped through the station, he caught glimpses of alien diplomats engaged in hurried conversations, some casting furtive glances their way. The embassy came into view, a small piece of Earth amidst the vastness of the galactic diplomatic arena. As they disembarked, Stephen squared his shoulders. The real work was just beginning. They had 1 week to assemble a team and prepare for challenges that would push the very limits of human capability. The fate of Earth's future in the stars rested on their shoulders, and the clock was ticking. Ticking. Stephen took a deep breath, steadying himself for the challenges ahead. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. Admiral Hawthorne's office became a hub of constant motion as they worked to assemble the perfect team for the trials. Stephen found himself poring over personnel files, his eyes burning from hours of screen time. "What about Captain James Reeves?" Stephen suggested, sliding a datapad across the desk to Hawthorne. "His record in extreme environments is impressive." Hawthorne nodded, his eyes scanning the file. "Good call. We'll need his experience. Add Dr. Samantha Scott to the list as well. Her expertise in xenobiology could give us an edge." As the team took shape, Dr. Rodriguez burst into the office, her face flushed with excitement. "You won't believe this," she said, thrusting a tablet towards them. The capsaicin compound, It's showing incredible potential as a treatment for Zenturi neural disorders. Hawthorne's eyebrows shot up. This could change everything. Get in touch with the Zenturi scientists immediately. We need to fast-track this research. The next week was a blur of preparation. Stephen watched as Captain Reeves put the team through their paces, running simulations of every conceivable scenario. Dr. Scott's lectures on alien physiology became a daily ritual, her passion for the subject infectious. Finally, the day arrived. As their shuttle approached Nexus Station, Stephen's stomach churned with a mix of anticipation and dread. The station loomed before them, a massive structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields. Zarnex met them at the docking bay, his silver skin reflecting the harsh lighting. "Welcome to Nexus Station," he said, his voice a metallic hum. "The first trial begins in 3 hours. Follow me to your quarters." As they walked through the station's winding corridors, Stephen couldn't help but notice the curious and sometimes hostile glances from alien delegates. The weight of Earth's future pressed down on him with each step. Zarnex stopped before a large view screen. "The initial trial will take place here," he said, gesturing to a simulated toxic world that filled the screen. "You'll be competing against the Kobali team and a mixed-species group. Your objective is to collect samples of a volatile substance without protective gear." Captain Reeves stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he studied the terrain. "Any details on the substance we're collecting?" Zarnex's face plate shifted in what Stephen had come to recognize as a smile. "That would defeat the purpose of the trial, Captain. You'll have to rely on your skills and your species' unique resilience." As the humans prepared for the trial, Stephen couldn't shake a feeling of unease. He caught Admiral Hawthorne's eye and saw his own concerns reflected there. They both knew that more than just the challenge itself was at stake. The klaxon sounded, signaling the start of the trial. Stephen watched from the observation deck as Captain Reeves led the team into the simulated environment. The air shimmered with heat and noxious fumes, but the humans pressed on, their movements sure and purposeful. Dr. Scott's voice crackled over the comms. "The substance appears to be some kind of crystalline formation, highly unstable. Handle with extreme caution." Stephen held his breath as Reeves carefully extracted a sample, his hands steady despite the toxic atmosphere. To his amazement, the human team not only completed the task, but did so with a speed and efficiency that left their alien competitors in awe. As the trial ended and the teams returned to the main station, a ripple of excited murmurs spread through the gathered delegates. Stephen allowed himself a small smile of triumph, but the feeling was short-lived. Alarms blared through the station, and Stephen's blood ran cold as he heard the words, "Human quarters and containment breach." He raced towards their assigned living space, his heart pounding. The scene that greeted him was chaos. A noxious green gas filled the air, and he could see his teammates struggling to breathe. Without hesitation, Stephen plunged into the toxic cloud, helping to drag his gasping colleagues to safety. As medical teams rushed to treat the affected humans, Admiral Hawthorne's face was a mask of barely held-back fury. "This was no accident," he growled. "Someone tried to take us out of the competition permanently." Stephen nodded grimly, his mind racing. The sabotage attempt had failed, but it was clear that their success had made them targets. As he watched Dr. Rodriguez being treated for gas inhalation, he realized that the real challenge was just beginning. The human team had proven their resilience and capability, but now they face an unseen enemy determined to see them fail. As reports of their performance in the trial spread throughout the station, Stephen knew that eyes across the galaxy were turning towards Earth, some with newfound respect, others with growing fear and suspicion. The next trial loomed on the horizon, a deep space rescue mission that would push their skills to the limit. But first, they had to uncover the truth behind the sabotage and navigate the complex web of galactic politics that threatened to entangle them. Stephen's gaze met Captain Reeves, and a silent understanding passed between them. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The fate of Earth depended on it. Their unity and dedication. The tense atmosphere in the room was palpable as they awaited their next assignment. Admiral Hawthorne's communicator chirped, breaking the silence. He listened intently, his expression growing more serious with each passing second. As he ended the call, he turned to address the team. "Listen up, everyone. We've just received word about our next trial," Hawthorne announced, his voice carrying a mix of urgency and grit. "It's a deep space rescue mission, and it's going to push us to our limits." Captain James Reeves stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "What are the details, sir?" Hawthorne activated a holographic display, revealing a dense asteroid field teeming with rocky bodies of various sizes. A Federation survey ship is stranded in this treacherous asteroid field. Our mission is to navigate through and rescue the crew. Dr. Samantha Scott frowned, studying the hologram intently. "Those asteroids look unusually active. Any data on their composition?" "Limited," Hawthorne replied, "but we suspect they may emit electromagnetic pulses. It could interfere with our navigation systems." Reeves nodded, a determined set to his jaw. "We'll have to rely on manual piloting then. I've had experience in similar conditions during the Orion conflict." As the team prepared for departure, Stephen approached Hawthorne. "Admiral, what about the sabotage attempt? Shouldn't we investigate further before leaving?" Hawthorne's expression darkened. "You're right, Stephen. I want you to stay behind with me. We need to get to the bottom of this while the team carries out the rescue mission." Within hours, the rescue team was boarding their ship, a sleek vessel designed for agility in tight spaces. Captain Reeves took his place at the helm, his hands hovering over the controls as he ran through pre-flight checks. Dr. Scott secured her medical equipment, preparing for any injuries they might encounter. "Remember," she called out, "we don't know what condition the survey ship's crew will be in. Be ready for anything." As the ship detached from Nexus Station, Stephen watched from the observation deck, a mixture of pride and concern washing over him. The vessel quickly became a speck against the vast backdrop of space, heading towards the daunting asteroid field. Back on the station, Hawthorne led Stephen to a secure communications room. "We need to dig deeper into this sabotage attempt," the Admiral said, his voice low. "I have a hunch this goes beyond simple competition." As they began their investigation, combing through security logs and intercepted communications, the rescue team plunged into the asteroid field. Captain Reeves' hands danced across the controls, guiding the ship through the chaotic maze of tumbling rocks. Suddenly, the ship's systems flickered and died. "Electromagnetic pulse," Reeves shouted, relying on his visual cues to navigate. His years of combat experience kicked in as he manually piloted the craft, narrowly avoiding collisions that would have torn the ship apart. The alien observers watching the mission from Nexus Station murmured in amazement. Even the most skeptical among them couldn't help but be impressed by the human pilot's skill. As the rescue team pressed deeper into the asteroid field, Hawthorne and Stephen made a breakthrough in their investigation. "Look at this," Stephen said, pointing to a series of encrypted messages. "These bear the hallmarks of a group calling themselves the Purity League." Hawthorne's eyes narrowed. "I've heard whispers about them. A secretive faction opposed to interstellar mixing. They see humanity's potential inclusion in the galactic community as a threat." As they dug deeper, the true extent of the Purity League's influence became clear. Their tendrils reach into various species and factions across the Federation, complicating any efforts to neutralize the threat. Meanwhile, in the heart of the asteroid field, the rescue team finally located the stranded survey ship. As they approached, Dr. Scott's sensors picked up alarming readings. "Captain," she called out, "I'm detecting high levels of unknown radiation. The survey ship's crew is in critical condition." Reeves skillfully maneuvered their ship alongside the stricken vessel. As the team prepared to board, Dr. Scott made a startling realization. Our natural resistance to radiation is protecting us from whatever affected the alien crew. Using their unexpected immunity, the human team swiftly evacuated the incapacitated alien crew members. As they worked, Captain Reeves noticed something odd about the survey ship's hull. "These markings," he muttered, running his hand along a series of scorch marks. "They're from weapons fire. This ship wasn't accidentally stranded. It was attacked." As the last of the alien crew was brought aboard, alarms blared through the rescue ship. A cloaked vessel had decloaked nearby, its weapons charging. The ship's hull bore an insignia that made Reeves' blood run cold, the symbol of the Purity League. "Evasive maneuvers," Reeves shouted, his hands flying over the controls. The rescue ship lurched and spun, narrowly avoiding the first volley of fire from the enemy vessel. Back on Nexus Station, the observation room erupted into chaos as the ambush unfolded on their screens. Stephen and Hawthorne rushed to the command center, desperately trying to coordinate support for the beleaguered rescue team. In the asteroid field, Reeves' exceptional piloting skills were put to the ultimate test. He used to vary obstacles that had made their mission so dangerous to their advantage, leading the Purity League ship on a deadly chase through the field. In a daring move, Reeves cut power to the engines, allowing their ship to drift towards a massive asteroid. The Purity League vessel, intent on its prey, failed to notice the looming danger until it was too late. The resulting collision sent shockwaves through the asteroid field, marking the end of their pursuer. As the rescue ship limped back towards Nexus Station, the implications of what had transpired began to sink in. The human team had not only completed their mission against incredible odds, but had also uncovered a conspiracy that threatened the very foundation of the galactic community. The successful rescue, coupled with the revelation of the Purity League's involvement, sent shockwaves through the Federation. As the human team docked at Nexus Station, they were met not just with accolades for their bravery, but with a growing realization that the trials and humanity's place in the galaxy were far more complex and consequential than anyone had imagined. Initially believed, as the team regrouped and debriefed, Admiral Hawthorne received an urgent transmission from Nexus Command. "We've got a new assignment," Hawthorne announced, his voice grave. A joint human-alien expedition to a newly discovered hostile planet, designated XR-27. "Captain Reeves, Dr. Scott, you'll be working with 2 alien specialists on this one." Captain James Reeves straightened, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "What's our objective, sir?" "Establish a research outpost on XR-27 surface," Hawthorne replied, activating a holographic display of the planet. "It's a chance to demonstrate humanity's ability to cooperate with alien species in extreme environments." Dr. Samantha Scott studied the swirling, turbulent atmosphere of XR-27. "Those conditions look challenging, to say the least." "That's putting it mildly," Hawthorne said. "You'll be working with Zorn, a Zenturi geologist, and Kala, a Kuxari atmospheric scientist. Their expertise will be crucial for this mission." As the team prepared for departure, Stephen approached Captain Reeves. "Be careful out there, James. We still don't know the full extent of the Purity League's reach." Reeves nodded, his heart made. "We'll keep our eyes open. This mission is too important to fail." The expedition ship, sleek and purpose-built for harsh environments, departed Nexus Station with little fanfare. As they approached XR-27, the ship began to shudder violently. "Severe turbulence detected," Kala reported, her tentacles waving in agitation. "Magnetic disturbances are off the charts." Captain Reeves gripped the controls tightly, his fist clenched. "Navigation's gone haywire. Switching to manual control." The ship bucked and jolted as Reeves guided it through the roiling atmosphere. Warning klaxons blared as systems failed under the stress. Dr. Scott braced herself against a bulkhead, watching in awe as Reeves' hands danced across the controls with practiced precision. With a bone-jarring thud, the ship touched down on XR-27's surface. Silence fell as the team exchanged glances, relief evident on their faces. "Nice flying, Captain," Zorn rumbled, his crystalline form glinting in the dim light of the cockpit. As they exited the ship, the full brunt of XR-27's hostility hit them. Acidic rain hissed against their protective suits, while toxic gases swirled in ominous clouds. The ground beneath their feet trembled intermittently, a reminder of the planet's geological instability. Dr. Scott checked her instruments, frowning at the readings. Gravity's about 1, 5 times Earth normal. And these temperature fluctuations are wild. Captain Reeves surveyed the bleak landscape, his eyes narrowing against the harsh glare. "Let's get the outpost set up quickly. I don't like the look of those storm clouds on the horizon." As they worked to establish the research station, Zorn suddenly called out, his voice filled with excitement. "Captain, Dr. Scott, you need to see this." The team gathered around a series of unusual rock formations. Zorn's crystalline fingers traced the intricate patterns etched into the stone. "These are artificial, remnants of an ancient civilization, if I'm not mistaken." Dr. Scott's eyes widened. "An alien civilization? Here." Before they could investigate further, a low rumble filled the air. The storm they had spotted earlier was bearing down on them with frightening speed. "Everyone inside," Reeves shouted over the rising wind. "We need to secure the outpost." They worked frantically to reinforce their shelter as the storm hit with full force. Sandblasted by gritty particles and lashed by acidic rain, the outpost creaked and groaned under the assault. "We've lost contact with Nexus Station," Kala reported, her usual calm demeanor shaken. As the storm raged outside, the team huddled in the relative safety of the outpost. Captain Reeves paced restlessly, his mind racing with contingency plans. Dr. Scott busied herself checking and rechecking their equipment, while Zorn and Kala conversed in low tones, comparing notes on the planet's bizarre properties. Hours passed before the storm finally abated. As they emerged from the outpost to survey the damage, Dr. Scott's scanner began to emit a series of rapid beeps. "I'm picking up strange energy readings," she announced, adjusting the settings on her device. "They're coming from beneath the surface, not far from here." Captain Reeves nodded, his decision made. "We need to investigate. It could be connected to those ruins Zorn found." The team set out across the rugged terrain, each step a struggle against XR-27's punishing gravity. As they approached the source of the energy readings, the ground beneath their feet suddenly gave way. They tumbled into darkness, landing hard on a smooth, artificial surface. As they regained their bearings, lights flickered to life around them, revealing a vast underground complex filled with technology beyond their wildest imaginations. "By the cosmic void," Zorn whispered, his crystalline form reflecting the pulsing lights. "This is beyond anything in the known galaxy." As they cautiously explored the facility, Dr. Scott's hand accidentally brushed against a control panel. A low hum filled the air, and the complex began to power up around them. "What's happening?" Kala asked, her tentacles writhing nervously. Captain Reeves watched as energy pulses began to emanate from the heart of the complex. "Whatever this place is, we just woke it up, and I have a feeling we're not going to like what happens next." The ground trembled beneath their feet, more violently than before. Alarms began to blare throughout the facility, their alien tones adding to the chaos. As the team exchanged worried glances, they realized their mission had just become far more complex and dangerous than they could have ever anticipated. Imagine, the ominous rumbling intensified as the ancient facility continued to power up. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion rocked the complex, sending debris raining down on the team. "We've got company!" Captain Reeves shouted, his combat instincts kicking in. He quickly assessed their surroundings, identifying potential defensive positions. Purity League forces have breached the outer defenses. We need to hold this position. Dr. Scott's eyes widened as she glanced at her scanner. "James, if we lose control of this facility, we lose our chance to understand this technology. It could be the key to terraforming XR-27. Reeves nodded grimly. "Understood. Zorn, you're with me. We'll set up a defensive perimeter at those choke points." He pointed to 2 narrow corridors leading into the main chamber. "Dr. Scott, Kala, focus on deciphering that terraforming tech. It might be our only way out of this mess." As Reeves and Zorn moved to their positions, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the corridors. The captain's hands tightened on his weapon, his muscles tensing in anticipation. "Zorn, use your geological knowledge. Can we create any natural barriers?" Reeves asked, his mind racing through tactical options. The Zenthiuri's crystalline form shimmered as he analyzed the surrounding rock. "Affirmative, Captain. The structural composition of these walls is unstable. A targeted blast could trigger a localized cave-in, slowing their advance." Reeves grinned. "Perfect. Let's give our uninvited guests a proper welcome." As they worked to fortify their position, Dr. Scott and Kala delved deeper into the alien technology. Holographic displays flickered to life, revealing complex schematics and data streams. "This is incredible," Dr. Scott muttered, her fingers dancing across the control interface. "The terraforming process is far more advanced than anything we've ever seen. But there's something missing." Kala's tentacles waved in agitation as she studied the readouts. "The system requires a biological catalyst to initiate the process. Something adapted to extreme environments." Before Dr. Scott could respond, the first wave of Purity League forces burst into the complex. Reeves and Zorn sprang into action, their makeshift defenses providing crucial cover. The captain's combat experience shone as he outmaneuvered the attackers, using the unfamiliar terrain to his advantage. Zorn, though inexperienced in combat, proved a quick study, using his knowledge of geology to create traps and obstacles that kept the enemy off balance. As the battle raged, Dr. Scott's mind raced. A biological catalyst adapted to extreme environments. Suddenly, the answer hit her like a bolt of lightning. "Of course," she exclaimed. "Humans evolved on Earth, a planet with wildly varying climates and conditions. Our DNA might be exactly what this system needs." Without hesitation, Dr. Scott pricked her finger, allowing a drop of blood to fall onto the control interface. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The ancient machinery hummed to life, pulsing with energy that spread throughout the complex and beyond. The corrosive atmosphere outside began to shift, stabilizing and transforming at an astonishing rate. The energy pulses had an unexpected side effect. The Purity League's weapons and communication systems began to malfunction, their advanced technology no match for the ancient power now coursing through the planet. "Captain," Dr. Scott called out, "the terraforming process is interfering with their tech. Now's our chance." Reeves didn't need to be told twice. He and Zorn pressed their advantage, driving back the confused and disoriented attackers. The Purity League forces, facing an enemy they couldn't defeat and an environment they no longer understood, began a hasty retreat. As the last of the attackers fled, Reeves and Zorn rejoined Dr. Scott and Kala in the main chamber. The holographic displays now showed XR-27's rapid transformation, toxic gases converting to breathable air, temperature extremes normalizing, and the first signs of potential habitability emerging. "By the cosmic void," Zorn whispered, his crystalline form reflecting the pulsing energy around them. "We've done it. We're witnessing the rebirth of an entire world." Before they could fully process the magnitude of their achievement, A familiar voice crackled over their communication system. "Expedition team, this is Admiral Hawthorne. Do you copy?" Reeves grabbed the comm unit, relief evident in his voice. "Admiral, it's good to hear your voice. We've got one hell of a story to tell you." "I bet you do, Captain," Hawthorne replied. "We've got a Federation peacekeeping fleet in orbit. The Purity League ships are standing down. Whatever you've done down there, it's changed everything." As the team exchanged looks of triumph and exhaustion, they knew their work was just getting started. The discovery of the terraforming technology and the defeat of the Purity League forces were just the beginning. They had opened a new chapter in galactic history, one that would reshape the future of humanity and countless other species across the stars. With XR-27 transforming around them and a Federation fleet securing the skies above, Captain Reeves and his team prepared to face their next challenge, explaining to the galactic community how humanity had just become the key to unlocking the potential of countless Deathworlds throughout the galaxy. The journey back to Nexus Station was filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. As their ship approached the massive space station, Captain Reeves couldn't help but marvel at its intricate design, a testament to the collaborative efforts of countless alien species. As the docking procedures began, Dr. Scott busied herself organizing their findings, while Zorn and Kala prepared the samples of the terraforming technology for presentation. The ship's comm system crackled to life with a message from Nexus Control. "Expedition team, you are cleared for priority docking. Admiral Hawthorne and Federation representatives are standing by to receive you." The team exchanged glances, the weight of their discoveries settling on their shoulders. As the airlock hissed open, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. A sea of alien faces stretched before them, a kaleidoscope of colors, shapes, and sizes. Diplomats, scientists, and dignitaries from hundreds of species had gathered in the docking bay, their eyes fixed on the human team with a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. Admiral Hawthorne stepped forward, his weathered face breaking into a rare smile. Beside him stood Stephen Green, the diplomatic liaison whose misunderstanding of hot sauce had inadvertently set this entire chain of events in motion. "Welcome back," Hawthorne said, his voice carrying over the murmur of the crowd. "You've caused quite a stir out here." Green nodded, his eyes twinkling. "That's an understatement, Admiral. The entire Federation is buzzing with news of your discovery." As they made their way through the station's corridors, Reeves noticed the varied reactions of the aliens they passed. Some regarded them with awe, others with thinly veiled suspicion. The captain realized that their actions on XR-27 had thrust humanity into the galactic spotlight, for better or worse. The Grand Federation Council Chamber was a marvel of architecture, its soaring ceilings and intricate designs reflecting the diversity of its members. As the team took their places at the center of the chamber, Reeves felt the weight of countless eyes upon them. Dr. Scott stepped forward, her voice steady as she began her presentation. Holographic displays sprang to life around her, showcasing the team's findings on XR-27. "Esteemed members of the Council," she began, "what we discovered on XR-27 has the potential to reshape our understanding of planetary transformation." As she delved into the intricacies of the terraforming technology, gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience. The revelation that human DNA served as the key to unlocking the system's potential sent shockwaves through the assembly. Captain Reeves took over, recounting their encounter with the Purity League. His calm demeanor belied the intensity of his words as he described the battle in the ancient complex. The council listened intently, their reactions ranging from admiration to concern. As the presentation concluded, the chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices. The Zent-Yuri delegation, led by a towering crystalline being, called for immediate implementation of the terraforming technology. "Think of the worlds we could transform," their representative exclaimed, his voice resonating through the chamber. Opposition came swiftly from more cautious species. A delegate from the Vex Collective, an insectoid race known for their pragmatism, raised concerns about the potential ecological impact. "We must proceed with caution," she chittered. "The ramifications of such technology could be far-reaching and irreversible." The debate grew heated, with various factions arguing passionately for their positions. Some council members expressed fear of humanity's newfound power, their words tinged with suspicion and old prejudices. As the arguments reached a fever pitch, alarms suddenly blared throughout Nexus Station. The chamber fell silent, tension filling the air. A squad of security forces burst through the doors, their weapons at the ready. "We have a situation," the lead officer reported, his voice tight with urgency. "A Purity League strike team has infiltrated the station. They're after the terraforming technology samples." Captain Reeves sprang into action, his combat instincts kicking in. "Admiral," he called out to Hawthorne, "we need to coordinate with station security. We can't let those samples fall into the wrong hands." Hawthorne nodded grimly, already issuing orders through his comm unit. "Reeves, take point. You know what we're dealing with here." As chaos erupted in the council chamber, Reeves quickly assembled a mixed team of humans and alien allies. Dr. Scott's knowledge of the station's layout proved invaluable as they navigated the corridors, tracking the Purity League operatives. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the station as they engaged the enemy. Reeves led from the front, his tactical acumen allowing them to outmaneuver the Purity League at every turn. Zorn's crystalline form proved to be an unexpected asset, deflecting enemy fire and providing cover for his teammates. As they pushed the Purity League forces back, Stephen Green coordinated the evacuation of council members to secure areas of the station. His calm voice over the comm system helped maintain order in the face of the unfolding crisis. Suddenly, Admiral Hawthorne's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, we've got a bigger problem. Earth Command just reported simultaneous Purity League attacks on key Federation outposts across the galaxy. This goes deeper than we thought." Reeves' mind raced as he processed this new information. The stakes had just been raised exponentially. As they cornered the Purity League leaders in the station's power core, he knew that his next actions could shape the future of humanity's place in the galactic community. The standoff in the power core crackled with tension. Reeves faced the Purity League leaders, their weapons trained on each other in a deadly stalemate. He took a deep breath, knowing that his words could mean the difference between victory and catastrophe. "Listen to me," Reeves began, his voice steady and authoritative. "I understand your fear. The unknown can be terrifying. But what we've discovered on XR, 27 isn't a threat to your way of life. It's an opportunity for all of us." The Purity League leader, a tall, gaunt alien with piercing eyes, scoffed. "You expect us to believe that? Your kind has always been a destabilizing force in the galaxy." Reeves took a step forward, his hands open in a gesture of peace. "Think about it. The terraforming technology doesn't favor any one species. It's a tool that can benefit all of us. Worlds that were once uninhabitable could become home to millions. We could end resource wars, reduce overcrowding, give hope to countless beings across the galaxy." His words seemed to give the Purity League members pause. Reeves pressed on, sensing an opening. "I'm not asking you to trust us blindly. I'm asking you to work with us, to be part of shaping this new future. Together, we can ensure that this technology is used responsibly for the benefit of all species." The tension in the room began to shift. The Purity League leaders exchanged glances, the conviction in their eyes wavering. Reeves held his breath, acutely aware that the next few moments could change the course of galactic history. Finally, the Purity League leader lowered his weapon. Perhaps we've been too hasty in our judgment," he admitted, his voice heavy with the weight of his decision. As the Purity League forces surrendered, Reeves felt a glimmer of hope. The battle was won, but he knew that the real challenge, building trust and cooperation between vastly different species, was just beginning. With the immediate threat neutralized, the Federation Council reconvened. The atmosphere in the chamber was markedly different now, charged with a new sense of possibility. Admiral Hawthorne took the floor, his voice carrying the authority of his years of service. "Esteemed members of the Council," he began, "the events of the past few hours have demonstrated both the challenges and the opportunities that lie before us. In light of humanity's actions and the potential of the terraforming technology, I propose that Earth be granted full membership in the Galactic Federation." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Hawthorne continued, "Furthermore, I recommend the establishment of a joint task force, led by Captain Reeves, to oversee the responsible use and implementation of the terraforming technology." The council erupted into discussion, with representatives from various species voicing their opinions. To Reeves' surprise, many of those who had been skeptical earlier now spoke in favor of the proposal. As the votes were tallied, a sense of anticipation filled the chamber. The results were clear, an overwhelming majority in favor of Earth's full membership and the creation of the Joint Task Force. The council chamber burst into applause, with delegates from various species approaching the human team to offer congratulations and express interest in collaboration. The Zenturi representative, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement, proposed a cultural exchange program with Earth. "We are particularly interested in exploring your culinary traditions," he said, his voice resonating with genuine curiosity. "What was once seen as a potential threat is now recognized as a testament to your adaptability." As the formal proceedings concluded, the atmosphere on Nexus Station transformed into one of celebration. In the station's main atrium, diplomats and warriors from across the galaxy mingled, sampling Earth cuisine and exchanging stories. Stephen Green, a smile playing on his lips, raised a glass in a toast. "To new beginnings," he said, his eyes twinkling. Who would have thought that a simple misunderstanding over a condiment would lead to all this? Captain Reeves, Dr. Scott Zorn, and Kala found themselves at the center of attention, fielding questions and sharing their experiences on XR-27. As they talked and laughed with their new alien allies, Reeves couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in how far they'd come. As the celebration began to wind down, Admiral Hawthorne approached Reeves, a serious expression on his face. "Captain, I've just received a message from Earth Command," he said, his voice low. "They've detected new Deathworlds on the fringes of known space. Worlds that could benefit from our newfound knowledge." Reeves felt a familiar thrill of excitement. He looked around at his team, seeing the same spark of adventure in their eyes. They had faced challenges, overcome prejudices, and...
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.